Welcome back, dear students, to the last part of this lesson number 4, History and Indian Arts. Now, in the last part, in part 2, we studied and learned about sculpture, architecture, as well as the various styles. Now, let's discuss further about performing arts and its various professional opportunities that are available. Page number 28. I hope your textbooks are open, children. All right, let's begin. Tradition of performing folk arts. India has independent and varied traditions of folk songs, folk instrumental music, folk dances, and folk theatre, which are characteristic of every particular region. There exist many rich traditions of performing folk art in Maharashtra also. They developed as an integral part of the religious festivals and social life. Okay, so what is trying to be explained over here is that performing arts, when you are performing something, all right, so in each part of India, there is something special. We have various dance forms, various musical instruments, you have folk theater, all right, all of them pertaining to various parts of India. All right, like if you see the Koli dance, we know that it is in the coastal regions. So examples that are given to us are the Koli dance, the Tarapa dance, Dashavatar of the Konkan region, Povada, Kirtan, Jagar Gondal. All these are very, very famous, and it has been passed on from tradition to tradition, or sorry, from generation to generation, and it has become part of our cultural heritage. All right, and therefore it has become part also of our social life. So when there are certain festivals that are celebrated, we get to see that these dances are performed in order to show the celebration of the people. Traditions of classical performing arts. India has a rich heritage of classical performing arts too. The text of Natya Shastra written by Bharat Muni is supposed to be the earliest one discussing music and theatre. The nine moods or nine rasas supposed to be fundamental in presentations of Indian performing arts. So when you are performing, all right, there are certain nine rasas that you need to keep in mind. All right, only through expressions. First one is Shringar to show love, Hasya to show humor, Bibatsa is to show repulsion, Raudra is to show something that is terrible, Karuna to show sadness, Veer, heroic, Bhayanak, something that is fearful, Adbhut, wondrous, and Shant is peaceful. So we see these various nine moods that can be expressed through only dance and performances. Okay, there is a beautiful video here for you to see. Please pay attention, children.
The nine basic emotions in the Natya Shastra, the Navarasas. Love, Shringara Rasa. Valor, Veera Rasa. Compassion, Karunya Rasa. Wonder, Adbhuta Rasa. Laughter, Hasya Rasa. Fear, Bhayanaka Rasa. Revulsion, Bivhatsa Rasa. anger, Raudra Rasa. And tranquility, Shanta.
I hope you all understood all the nine rasas or the nine moods that can be expressed. Okay, continuing. Indian people came into contact with cultural traditions of other nations, and that resulted into blending of many different streams in the presentation of Indian performing arts, enriching them over time. Just like when we spoke about sculpture and architecture, all right, when other cultures, when we are exposed to other cultures, all right, what happens is there will be always be a blending of a foreign culture as well as our own, and creating something new. All right, so similarly even with performing arts, when we are exposed to different cultures, we try to blend them with our own, and we get to see a beautiful result out of that. As a result, many styles of presenting of classical vocal music, instrumental music, and dance came into existence. So we get to see a lot of fusion, blending or mixing of. Various schools preserving those styles were also created. Now, there are two main branches of Indian classical music. You have Hindustani music and you have Carnatic music. Similarly, there are two forms of it. You have classical, that is Shastriya, and semi classical, Upashastriya. The semi classical has included many styles of folk music. Now, we know that folk music, we've already discussed the difference between folk music and classical. Okay, when you talk about anything that is related with the people, it becomes more spontaneous, it is more natural. Whereas when you're talking about classical music or classical dance, you need to undergo certain training. Okay, now, a beautiful blend of all three forms of music, that is, vocal, instrumental, and dance, can be seen in various Indian classical dance forms like Kathak of the North India, Lavani of Maharashtra, Odissi of Odisha, Bharatnatyam of Tamil Nadu, and Kathakali and Mohiniyattam of Kerala. So, in the beginning of this part, we already spoke of how there are different of performing arts that bring out the personality or bring out the character of each part of India. All right, so we see that certain dance forms are seen only in certain parts of India, bringing out its culture, bringing out its speciality. So we take pride if we are in Maharashtra, if there is any festival, or if there is any special function, we always see that the Lavani is performed. Okay, or if you're wanting to showcase a particular part of India, we try to bring out that dance form, so we relate immediately which performance belongs to which part of India. Giving you few pictures here, so you can see the Kathak dance, the Lavani, as well as the Odissi dance, Bharatnatyam, Kathakali, and the Mohiniyattam. Now on page 29 you can see a box given to you. Do you know the ruler of Bijapur, Ibrahim Adil Shah II, wrote a text in Persian language entitled Kitab-e-Navras. This text is about Indian classical music. It includes verses sung in the Drupad style and enables the audience to experience the joy of excellent poetry. Dr. Arun Prabhune has edited this text in Marathi. The translation of the verse printed on the cover of this text reads as follows: O Mother Saraswati, you are the divine light of the world, and you are complete with all qualities. If Ibrahim receives your grace, that is blessings, the poetry of the Navras will become eternal. So they are just giving you a brief of this book that was written, which has various songs that are sung in the Drupad style, and also about how in his poetry, okay, it makes the people aware that it doesn't matter what religion or what background you come from. When you're performing or when you're talking about art, art has no religion. In India, in the post independence period, Various festivals of music and dance are organized with a view to make it accessible to common people. So, when there are certain festivals that are celebrated, in order for the common people to gain access to it, to listen to it, to enjoy it for entertainment's sake, these various dances and performances are shown to the people. Many people attend these festivals, including Indians and foreigners alike. The Savai Gandharva festival of Pune is a very famous one. Okay. Now, with this, lately we see an inclination, a liking towards experimenting and creating fusion of various music styles by trying to overcome the limitations imposed by a traditional style of or school. Okay, so what does this mean? Because we are seeing experimenting and fusion, what happens? Because of that, see, in classical music or in classical dance, I told you that there is training required. You need a lot of rules and regulations that you need to follow. But when you are having a fusion, or you're trying to blend two cultures together, it is breaking all those rules, it is breaking all those barriers and creating something new. Pandit Uday Shankar is a prominent name among such an artist who created a new style. He successfully created a fusion of Indian classical dance and the European opera. Okay? And he also included various forms of folk dance in his style. Thus, the scope of the presentation of the Indian performing arts seems to be constantly expanding. Why? Because we are breaking these barriers and we are trying to blend other cultures as well. The same phenomenon is apparent in the field of Indian visual arts. Now we come to the next topic: art, applied art, and professional opportunities. Art. Art history is an independent branch of knowledge. Various opportunities of research are available in this field. Art historians can work in the field of journalism. Okay, now here we get to see the various opportunities that people can pursue even today, so that they can make career opportunities for themselves. Okay, so a person who has studied art like an expert could be a journalist and speak more about, ancient monuments, about various historical importance that is given to some remains that we have found. Okay, art market is an independent field. It calls for special expertise to access the exact value of an art object or to ensure that it is genuine. So in the previous lessons also we have already spoken that when you are talking about any remains, the need of an expert arises, all right, because they know how to handle it and whether to judge whether the art object is genuine or not, whether it is a real or it's a fake product. Okay, so when you have these auctions that take place, people who are really into collecting antique stuff, when you have an auction, you have to pay a lot of money in order to buy that product. Okay, and if that particular object is not genuine, if it's not real, then there could be a lot of illegal activities and smuggling that could take place. So in order to avoid all this, you need someone who is an expert to tell you whether that object is genuine or not, and also to put a price on it. So if a painting of a very famous painter, all right, has to be sold, there has to be a particular price tag that you need to adjust according to that. Okay, an expert with deep understanding of art history is required for this task. Then we come to heritage management and cultural tourism, are recently developed fields. We already know this. We need to protect our heritage. We need to protect monuments so that people from other countries could come and see it. And because of that, tourism arises. With tourism comes in foreign currency. With foreign currency, it helps to boost our Indian economy. So it's all interlinked. Okay, and therefore it has now become a new field where people can take opportunities, job opportunities, career opportunities. In these fields, students of art can find many professional opportunities: museum and archive management, library science, and information technology, archaeological research, Indology are some important fields in this regard. Indology, study of Indian history. Applied art. The visual and performing arts are primarily looked upon as the means of entertainment for people. Now, why do we have art? Art is, in the beginning, we have already seen that it is of two types, visual art and performing art. So, artists perform for us in order to entertain people. Okay, the artist performs primarily with this purpose. However, there is a scope to combine an artistic creation with utility value to make it economically viable. What does that mean? That not only for the purpose of entertainment for people, but also while entertaining, if they can make money, economically viable to make it economical for the person who is performing. So, when you go to see an artist perform, you have to pay money. Okay, even though it is a performance for entertainment's sake, if you're going to see a band perform, okay, you have to pay money. If you go to see, or if you're going to buy a painting, okay, and if you're going to an exhibition, you have to buy that painting, okay, or you are buying an articraft or some handy crafts that is being made by people. So even though it is an art, you are to purchase it, therefore giving rise to new job opportunities for people. Thus, an artistic creation with a utilitarian purpose is called as applied art. You're using art and yet you're making money, so therefore it is applied art. Industry and advertisement, interior design and production of ornamental objects, art design of stage backdrops, direction of films and television, creating attractive layouts of books, magazines, calligraphy, production of greeting cards, invitation cards, customized stationery, gift objects, etc., are in the field of applied arts. So, even people who are making cards, it doesn't when people, you go to buy a card maybe for a friend for a birthday or an anniversary, you see cards that are already sold in the shop, the words that are there, the cover of the card, okay, all that is people giving them opportunities, all right, to have or to take it up as a job, as a career. Similarly, when you have theater or when you're going to watch a play, the backdrop, okay, to set that up also is a new field of career opportunity. Next, the field of architecture, photography are also part of applied arts. Nowadays, still and animated graphics created with the help of computers are used for various purposes. This is also applied art. Ornaments, artistic creation of metals, earthen pots with colorful designs, objects made with cane and bamboo, beautiful glass objects, attractive textiles and clothing, etc., all can be listed under applied arts. So, anything that is done with the hand to create beautiful creations, okay, also is part of applied arts. Thus, we see that every field mentioned above requires a detailed planning and meticulous management. Meticulous to be extremely perfect, okay, like an expert at every stage of production. It is essential to employ trained and skilled individuals at every stage. Some of the production process of artistic objects have a history of certain traditions. The development of each productive process has its own history. Hence, the syllabi of training courses of art design include the history of various industrial and cultural traditions. So, what does this mean? When you are studying a course, all right, where you have to deal with more of art, they always start the syllabus of these art courses will always start with the history of where the course started, okay, so that we get to know more about its history. There are few institutions in India which offer technical and occupational training in the above mentioned fields. Among them, the National Institute of Design in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, is a world renowned institute. I've given you a small picture there. This institute has introduced an online course since the year 2015. In our next lesson, we will discuss and learn more about mass media and history. So, with that, class, we come to the end of our lesson. I hope that all of you all have understood the lesson well and how history and applied arts, okay, can be used even today as a way of gaining more knowledge, and also to make it a professional occupation where you can have opportunities given to us to take it up as a career. We can make money out of it, and to prove that history is not only for people who are studying history but also for common people to take up opportunities in these fields. Okay, so now from your exercise, question number 1A and B will be done in the textbook. Question number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 will be done in your classwork books. Okay, I'm repeating again. Question number 1A and B in the textbook itself. Question number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in your classwork books. All right, with that, we come to the end of our lesson. Thank you, children, and have a wonderful day.